I'm Eric Marcus, and this is the Making Gay History podcast. We bring LGBTQ history to life through the voices of the people who lived it. This week, I want you to meet Wendell Sayers. You won't... I think about the stories that I captured from Making Gay History for my original book, and what would have happened if I hadn't recorded them. Most of them would not have been remembered. When I first started doing my research, I didn't know that much about the gay civil rights movement. I didn't know that the movement began before 1969. I thought it began at Stonewall. When I was old enough to realize that I might be a homosexual, and then I looked in a book, and what was in there was so hair-raising and so scary, I could never have imagined that I would live in a world where gay people would be accepted to such a degree. When I set out to do my work initially, one of my goals was to write the books that I wished had been on the shelves when I was a young person. My second book, Making History, which is what the podcast is based on, when the book was first published, the publisher was nervous about using gay in the title. Maybe I was nervous, I can't remember now. And so the second edition was Making Gay History. We used the word gay, it was 10 years later. I donated my entire collection to the New York Public Library with an agreement that they digitize the whole collection. Today we're going to Pineapple Street Media. Hello.
Hi. Good to see you.
Sarah Birmingham, executive producer, Making Gay History, and Josh Gwynn, our producer.
Ready?
Yep, I'm ready. It's a little more complicated than the typical podcast because we use archival audio, so it's not just my voice. Don't laugh, Josh. We're drawing from my archive of 100 interviews that I did 30 years ago. It's time for me to step back and let Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson, Morty Manford, Vito Russo, Craig Rodwell, Damian Martin, and Dick Leitch tell you their stories. One of the discoveries for me when I was doing the interviews, I was stunned at how challenging the world was and how brave these LGBTQ people were who started the movement. One of my favorites is a woman named Lisa Ben. Her real name was Edith Ide. She would write a magazine for lesbians on her office typewriter.
Gives me chills. 1947. You had guts.
Well, it surprises me now, too, reading back.
There were people who grew up during those times who rejected what the world said about them, who said, I'm right, the world is wrong, and I'm going to change the world. We hear from young people and old people all over the place in 200 countries and territories around the world who've been deeply affected by these stories. In the letters that I hear from older listeners is how they feel affirmed by this history. And I actually couldn't have imagined getting the emails that I get from young people in particular who say that they feel like they had grandparents for the first time. As a gay person, you don't know your ancestors. People who listen have a chance to find out who their ancestors were. So this is our family wall. And that's my dad with me, bad fashion sense. You think I wasn't gay. This is from the 1993 March on Washington with my mom, who became more of an activist than I was. This picture was taken the day before we had the commitment ceremony across the street in a churchyard. And we had a parade down the block with a bagpiper leading the way playing Hava Nagila. One of the things I really hoped for in my early life was to have a life, to find a spouse, to have a home, to get to water my roses. I've been so fortunate to have a 25-year relationship with a wonderful man. And if you had told me that that was in my future when I was... I was so unhappy and so desperately didn't want to be a gay kid and would have done anything not to be. Could not have imagined that I could have had such a happy life. And I owe it to the people who came before me, the people I interviewed. So I say to them, most of them gone, wherever you are, thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.